All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Monday, June 14th, shortly after 9 a.m. Of course, this is not Fausto's voice. My name is Josh Levitan. For all of us in social media, if you stick with me at least going into the afternoons, you know me, but great to be back. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Perfect. I did it from the trading room just before, but great to see everyone. Michael, Chuck, Amy, Bonnie. I appreciate the welcome back from everybody earlier once I signed in. Gene, Stefan, Grant. Great to be back, Grant. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it was a great time. I took a little mini vacation with a couple of friends. We were in Scottsdale, Arizona. Really hot, as you can imagine, over there. My first time in Arizona. No, that's a lie, actually. I was over in the Grand Canyon, but that was later in the calendar year, a number of years back, so much cooler, near June. It's like 115 degrees. Oh my goodness. I mean, a much different heat, obviously, but less humid at least compared to over here in New York. So a little tolerable in that sense. I was tubing down the Salt River. I ended up catching a rodeo show in Cave Creek about 30 minutes out. And very nice trip. Great to be back though. I ended up making some money that could pay off some bills at least going into the trip, but I feel like I got to make a lot of money back now at this point. So, like I said before, it feels good to be back in the saddle. I saw that you folks ended up trading a couple of familiar names going into Thursday and Friday, the end of last week, between Clove, between the SR&E trade, between Vaxart, VXRT. So let's go over those to quickly begin, and then from there we'll really more so discuss what's moving this morning in pre-market. The ENOB trade obviously on the screen here to begin. I have a line at 1070, and I'll explain that there in just a couple of minutes. So looks like I ended up missing out on Clove, huh? We ended up seeing this stock make a huge move up back on Tuesday of last week, ended up running up from 17 all the way up towards just about 25, gapped up to 28.50 the following morning back on Thursday. Back on Wednesday, ended up diving right back down. At least back Friday at the end of last week, we ended up seeing this make another short squeeze back up, kind of dumping back down here a bit, but ended up diving off, ended up making the slingshot right from 1350 going into mid Friday morning right after 10:15. Looks like you guys ended up doing great on that one. Broke over 14 very quickly, so very little resistance there for it to fight through, and man, ended up making a very similar type of squeeze like we saw back on Tuesday, at least when I was there to catch it. So, hey, history repeats itself, right? So no surprise that I'm looking at this now and just saying, if it's not breaking higher, there's only one other way it's going to go in the meantime. So, for right now, it seems like it's just making, if not lower highs and maybe equal highs off like 1550-ish and pulling back down. So, hey, I don't know. Maybe I'll put this on our watch list at the end. Obviously a great side list stock that I'll personally consider every day. But nonetheless, though, I feel like we'll, more so follow the percent gainers and losers here as we go through them in a bit. So, at least nice trade back from Friday morning on Clove, and we'll come back to it maybe in just a bit. But VXRT, this was a much better trend. Ended up making a huge pop shortly after the market opened up back Friday, and then really took off from there. So, this is one in pre-market that I would say if I was there, there wasn't much reason to put this on our pre-market watch list or on our morning watch list as much. We ended up seeing this thing just take off right away, though, right? Ended up making the huge break or slingshot roughly around from 750, and ended up, accelerating up, but built a steady trend off the lows after. So it looks like it became choppy, but one of those trades off the lows at least became manageable to just simply follow the trend. That's something that we'll be talking about coming up in the Phase 1 stock course later on this morning. So I kind of came right back into the swing of things here for all of us live inside the Cyber Group room. All of our bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond students, most of us here in the trading room at least, have access to the Phase 1 course lined up this morning. We'll be talking all about the charts this month, just basically talking about support, resistance, the trend is your friend, and we'll accelerate things further, coming up next week in Phase 2. We'll talk more about advanced charting strategies and topics, but nonetheless, hey, I look forward to that. VXRT built a really good trend off the lows, ended up making the perfect top right off of resistance at 10. I would have expected a false breakout from there, right? Going into the mid to late morning for a stock that moved up from 750 all the way up perfectly, you would have to expect a false breakout. So it just held perfectly under that level, made it even easier for you to anticipate resistance. And then, obviously it just ended up, diving right back down from that point. But, very active once again in pre-market this morning. This thing was breaking through a couple of iceberg orders early on today, at least after 8 o'clock. I think it was 9:05, 9:16. I actually probably just broke over it, then dumped back below it. But right at 9:01 Eastern time here, there was an order that was filled. Yep, 9:27. They actually took it out in one shot. Looks like there was some volume filled there earlier off the ask, but grown to be a 42, 43,000 share order. most of that shows just in that one print, 39,600 shares. So watch 927 as a top going into this morning. You know, it looks like it's right there again, but you know, just see what happens after the open on this one. I like this one a little bit more. Easier for me to just put this on our main list for right now. It's up 6% just about, so you know, up a little bit more than that clove trade. All right, so I want to go back to ENOB, and that's the top percent gainer. So we may as well just start from the top, right? I mean, I was saying all last week before it departed, I was like, I got to make sure I do a very fast meeting, and that's what Fausto is so good at. He keeps it simple. I'm running pretty thin with time right before the market opens, so let's try and zip through this gainers list quick and losers list here. But ENOB, it's back under my line underneath 1070, and we ended up seeing this not break over 1070. A huge order on the ask. I mean, moved above it here, but more so going into like 8:55 Eastern time right here. It looks like it ended up breaking through a big iceberg order on the bid. The chart doesn't show the volume aside from the spike, but talking about the prints on the tape, we ended up seeing an order on level 3 from 1070. It popped up for a little while. It was holding above it for a bit, but it broke below it. We call that selling at the time. It's back above 1070 here, but you know, point being, I would just be very careful after the market opens up. Stock's already up 145%. So if it's not going to hold above 1070, and rather if it re-breaks below 1070 after the market opens, then I would expect this to make a much sharper drop off compared to what it previously did here. So, you know, still looks healthy, I guess, with this move back above it, but just be careful after the market opens up. We'll definitely put this on our list. I don't have the news on this in terms of trying to make this meeting quick and, you know, keep it simple. I'm going to just kind of skip past Benzinga Pro for right now. Nice pop off 11 here at least. Looks like some volume got filled off the ask. Not too big of an order. But see what happens coming up after the open at least. Making a really nice run. So looks like this might look to be support at least for a bit after the open. To see this run off 1070, at least after the open, perhaps it'll hold initially, and then we'll see what happens. You know, maybe it'll dump off maybe a couple minutes after. But again, still be careful around these prices, the ENOB. All right, RAPT. Start number 2 now at this point. RAPT's got a huge spread. We were talking about this live inside the trading room earlier. I chatted to one of our members, Brian. You know, this stock's untradeable right now. I mean, just super wide spread, very little or no volume on the order book at all. So it's one that after the open, you got to see how it plays out. I'll put it on our watch list just because of the activity. I'm sure there's some, you know, drug news that came out on it. RAPT, to see the stock, you know, make such a parabolic move up from like roughly 19 up towards 40, doubled in price. I saw a later comment on that live earlier in the room, but then, you know, it's pulling back down a bit after, right? So I personally, I need the order book to fill in on this. I would rather trade Vaxxer easily over this, but I'll put it on our quote unquote watch list, right? Not the trade list, the watch list. We'll kind of study this move at a minimum. Man, that ENOB is ripping. Right? That's what you love to see here. And again, the more it runs up, then, hey, I would have confidence in that 1070 then becoming support after. The selling that comes in, perhaps you would have expected that to pull back after the open. But, man, that ended up running up right away first. So perhaps 1070, that ENOB trade, will come back to it at the end. But maybe that'll be big support after the market opens. The MDA trade, I wish this could be making the same type of move as ENOB. Both were kind of making the same pop at the same time, around 7 o'clock Eastern time, dumped back down roughly around the same time. I don't think that they're related now, I guess. But either way, I mean, I'll put this on our list. This one seems to be trading a little bit more volume on the order books. I hope for it to fill in a lot more after the open at least, but, you know, much cheaper in price. Certainly for right now, this stock is quote unquote trending on the way down, at least as of now, leading into the open. So just be mindful of that, as I would for any stock, but just always ask, you know, what's the trend of the stock leading into the open? And that's how you'll kind of like determine what you should be doing within the first few minutes after. The ITOS trade, I'd say the same thing. This thing is just, I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to put this on our list here yet. CRSR, nice push up earlier today. This one, at least a little bit more orders out there. You know, hey, I'll put it on our list, like kind of like the same thing as the RAPT trade. You got a lot of these low float, probably very thinly traded stocks typically that are making these moves off of some sort of news. This is a gaming stock. Corsair Gaming. All right, so I'll jump to Benzinga for one stock, and we're going to do it on the CRSR trade. So what's the news on this? Yeah, damn, the one stock I go to, it looks like there's no news on it. Benzinga Pro says that there's just really no interest, no news on it to justify the price action. Looks like it might just be like Wall Street bets, if anything. Reddit traders. All right, but hey, at least this one's shortable, so if it craps out the other way, as I famously said, that could be a potential opportunity. But for right now, obviously moving on up. LKCO, unfortunately, I think that some of us on TradeStation locked up on this trade in the sense of being restricted from trading it. So, I'll put it on our list, of course, for those that can trade it. But if you can't trade it, if you checked before and you can't place a limit order out there for it just yet, we've seen this happen not often at all, but don't let it just be a distraction. Honestly, don't keep typing in the chat board, I can't trade it. I can't trade. You're going to miss out on other trades, right? You're just going to waste your time. So, I would follow others just if you can't trade it. If you can, great. Wow, Chuck ended up killing it just now in the ENOB trade. Let me just jump back to that right now. I'll just show it for the meantime because Chuck clocked in like $1.70 profit per share on the ENOB stock in pre-market here. He got in from 10.24 earlier and just got out practically under 12. It's still even pushing up more, but man, what a run. So you know what? Hey, I was fearful of the dump off. It still might come, later on. But for such a run up from that line, watch that 1070, watch 11. It should be support. All right, let's see what else we got. I'll be checking out my Bitcoin. I'll jump back to the Bitcoin chart going into the afternoon meeting. This is up 9.4% right now, Riot. I know there's been a lot more talks about Elon and Tesla accepting Bitcoin for payment again. Just, they have like certain requirements for energy efficiency or renewable energy. I only know as much as I know, and I'll talk more about that later on. But that's why you're seeing Bitcoin make a run up over the weekend. Riot and Mara both up this morning. Right, so it's hard for me to not put these on our watch list here, at least so far. Both Riot and Mara, I'll kind of tag them together. And I'll check out Canon for the meantime, CAN. This one much cheaper, so I like that a lot more even. Tighter spread stock at least, also shortable if it goes the other way. If Bitcoin dives back down just temporarily across the day, then this would perhaps go with it. That could be interesting. Maybe EBON, a couple of others here. This one, not as much activity. All right, so at least Riot, Mara, and Can, the Bitcoin crypto mining stocks, we'll put on our list here so far. SENS, unfortunately, this one had a huge dump off after I put this on our pre-market watch list. Well, it ended up running up at first, actually. I put out the watch list early after 7:45. It ran up at first going into the 8 o'clock move, and oof, unfortunately, a big miss after. Ended up diving right back down, failed to hold support, only moved back down lower. So, I'm going to still put this on our list. Very active stock. It's up 8.5%. I don't know what the news is. I did check Benzinga actually earlier, and they didn't really show me much. So it could have been from just early last week. I forgot what it was. I'm not going to check now at this point, but just very active across the last week alone. Some huge ranges on these bars, between the high and low. So either way, if this continues to dump off, then maybe we'll find support for a small dead cat bounce opportunity. Maybe it holds here after the open and runs right back up. We'll see. Randy says, way to go, Charles. I was in and waited, got impatient on that ENOB, so I got out. Then, of course, there it goes, just what I was waiting for. Well, you know what, though, and you know this, Randy, and I'm just mentioning this to other traders, and especially our trial members joining us live inside the room for the first time or testing our room out for the past few days. This is a marathon, not a sprint, right? And Randy, you know that. I'm just saying that to everyone else. It's just don't force yourself into that trade. Don't force yourself into any trade just because you missed one. So just be patient, take your time. There are so many times throughout the day where I have setups that just fall directly into my lap. It's like, all right, I'll take it. Why not? And it's just a gift. But, we gotta just, if we miss a move, we gotta be patient and just wait to see what happens after the open at this point. ETTX, unfortunately, this was also a big miss. Ended up diving off after 8 o'clock. I was hopeful for this, but ended up just making a flat move after. And for the meantime, I don't mind putting this on our watch list for right now, but it doesn't look as great in terms of what we'll do right after 9:30. Just seems like it's just still trending down, dropping off. Wouldn't shock me to see it test 3 first, then make a slingshot perhaps. Checking down on my notepad right now as I'm going through. And I'm like, oh man, I got a pretty big watch list already. So far I got 3, 6, 9. I got 11 stocks so far on this watch list. I've barely gone halfway through. So at this point, folks, let me know if there's anything I missed, but I might just kind of make this quick now at this point and call it. AMC up big, 6%. You know, we don't need to put this on our list. You know, all these Reddit stocks are just great side list stocks at this point. SRNE kind of flat here. That's a stock that I personally love trading. I wrote it down on my notepad this morning, but you know, hey, I'll call it out after the open if it moves, but no need to put this on our list either. I did see TRCH on the gainers list here, and I see Chuck C just commenting on that right now. Let's see, TRCH where? There we go. All right, nice pop. Wow, I ended up actually missing this pop here, but I saw it up early in pre-market. It's also a stock we're kind of familiar with, but nice move. I mean, it's on the way up to 350 as you could see. Not much buying coming in off the level just yet, and even if it pops here prior to the market opens, I would just wait to see if history could repeat itself after, but I don't mind adding this here so far. More of like a level 1 to level 2 stock. Might add one more on our watch list here. And keep in mind, it might look like a big list, but 3 of those stocks are Bitcoin mining stocks. So they'll tend to move similar between the Riot, the Mara, and the Can trade. So, you know, those are, you know, 3 that you can kind of group together, basically. ATXI is the other one I'm going to add to our list, you know, just for right now. It's down big enough for me to, you know, hope for a dead cat bounce, down about 47%. I'm sure it's off of bad pharma news or bad drug news, maybe like a bad phase 2 or something like that. Actually, you know what? I will check quick. I'm kind of cutting thin on time already, as I just said, but I actually will check because if it's news with a common stock offering, I might not be as interested, actually. So I'm just checking for ATXI. Yeah, it's just a letter from an FDA. So I'm interested here. I like this. If it was common stock offering news or direct offering news, maybe you'll kind of trade closer to that price where it's listed at. We talk about that just within the phase 1 course. We talk about news. We did last month, actually. Getting back to the list, ATXI, definitely going to put on our list here. Either way, I mean, hey, this might drop off lower going into the open or after the open. You know, might make the slingshot from 2, might make the squeeze up right away. So we'll kind of just see where it breaks. But down big enough for me to at least hope for some sort of bounce or, you know, move back up opportunity. Yeah, that LKCO is already on our list. Unfortunately, it's like kind of flat, so it doesn't look like the best stock right now. Is moving up after 8 o'clock, going into 8:30. I'll keep it on our list because we're familiar with it and string a hell of a lot of volume this morning, up still 22%. So, you know, I hope for a move after the open, but doesn't look like the greatest here. All right, so from Tina joining us on YouTube today, Tina P. Let's see, from I'm sorry, mistyped that. ORPH. Yeah, it's another wacky one, right? It moved up big in pre-market. You can see just back from Thursday. I mean, I ended up missing this, it looks like. Hell, pop from like 8 all the way up to, what is this, like $80, $75? Right in the middle. 77, 77. Lucky sevens there. Let's take a look. How many halts? I'm wondering that. How many halts did this thing have? I'm not going to count. Looks like too many. Goes to show once it gets halted on the way down, it's game over. So, you know what? It's up. It's wacky. You can make a buck on it. I'd rather trade others. I'd rather not to have history repeat itself in that fashion. And, you know, that would be a huge gamble. So, you know, just this morning, it doesn't look like we have like, I mean, I'll say it looks like we have a big list, but there's a few that I'm really more jumpy to. VXRT, the Can trade should Bitcoin kind of hold and move back up a bit more. You know, even that MDA trade, that was very active and relatively inexpensive so far in pre-market. So hopefully that one could also make a strong move at least after 9:30 or shortly after, obviously on the way down here. So maybe it drops down to 5 first. We'll see what happens. All right, so for all of us in social media here, just make sure that you like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel first, youtube.com/cybertradingu. And then if you've yet to join us live inside our trading room, just from Monday to Friday, from market open to market close, feel free to join us. Actually, I shouldn't say that. We're open earlier than market open since we do this meeting, but we actually open up at 7 o'clock Eastern time, 7:30 Eastern every morning. So feel free to join us. Go right down to the link on the banner below if you've yet to have the chance. I look forward to seeing you there. For all of us there already, just allow me a chance to post and tweet the picks. I'll be back on the mic in just about 10, 11 minutes here after the market opens.